Yo, what's up guys? We're back with another video today, and in today's video guys, I'm going to be talking about the best UFC fights in recent years. So we're only going to be counting past 2020 because 2020 will be in 5 years from now. That's like dinosaur years in our generation, guys. I'm joking. But I'm only going to be counting fights from 2020 onward. So without further ado, let's get into them. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. This one was at UFC 284 at the beginning of 2023, and this is my personal favorite fight on here because this is the highest level of mixed martial arts in recent years. The two pound for pound greatest fighters in the world at the time battling out, and to see who is the best in the world. And everyone thought that Volkanovski was gonna lose, he was gonna get destroyed, and then Volk comes out there and he shows that, oh my god, he's actually legit and arguably beats Islam. Personally, guys, I believe Alexander Volkanovski won the fight, but I understand why people say Islam won the fight because it was a very close fight. You could give it to either one of these guys personally, and I wouldn't disagree. I just think that Volkanovski won the fight because he just did a lot more, you know? And it was also just you had everything about this fight, the wrestling, the striking, the grappling, the kicks, everything you think of MMA, it was displayed in this fight right here. People don't talk about as much anymore because of the second fight with Islam and Volkanovski, where Islam KO'd Volk, sadly, and it stinks because I wish that Volk hadn't stepped in. Everyone thinks that he should have waited, and then we could have gotten an actual rematch of the two highest skilled fighters in the world at that time. But Volk had to step in, and then we had that KO. So it stinks as a Volk fan. But the first fight though is one of the best fights in my opinion in recent years. Yuri Prohaska versus Gilbert Teixeira. Here's the thing, guys. Any fight with Yuri Prohaska is going to be an absolute banger. It's just automatic. Yuri is one of the few guys in the UFC who is allergic to have boring fights, right? So, and this is arguably his best one. I'm pretty sure this is his best one as far as the UFC goes. I haven't seen his other fights because I don't really watch most out of promotion UFC fights. I'll watch a bit of ONE FC or Bellator or PFL sometimes, but I usually stick with UFC guys. And this fight with Gilbert Teixeira, guys, was amazing. It was just it wasn't the highest level of mixed martial arts like Islam and Volk was, but it was just a great fight. It really was. It was just a back and forth brawl, a war. Multiple points in this fight where both guys could have ended it. The biggest point that I remember of this fight isn't the fact that Yuri submitted Gilbert. It was the fact that Gilbert wobbled Yuri at the end of the fight, at the 5th round, and could have finished him, and then decides to go for a takedown or a guillotine. I have no clue why he did that. He would have actually he could have potentially knocked out Yuri at that exact moment right there, and then he goes for a guillotine, and that's literally what cost him the fight. It was I didn't really score the fight because I was just watching the fight, but a lot of people said that Gilbert was arguably winning the fight technically on the scorecards, right? But that's besides the point. You're not here to hear about the scoring of this fight. You're here to see the brawls and the war between these two guys, and they brought it. They absolutely brought it. And it was crazy that Yuri submitted Gilbert Teixeira. Gilbert Teixeira is a submission guy, and the fact that Yuri submitted him was kind of crazy. And listen, I love Alex Pereira. He's one of my favorite fighters, and I'm so happy he's a champion. But I won't lie, it would be nice to see Yuri as a champion one day again, because seeing Yuri as a champion, it just fits him so well, guys. It really does. Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler, guys. You're gonna see a lot of the Michael Chandlers, the Poiriers. I could honestly fit any Dustin Poirier fight or any Justin Gaethje fight or any Michael Chandler fight on here, but I've limited myself and I've only included 2 of them. You'll probably know the other one with Michael Chandler shortly, but we're going to talk about the first one, Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Arguably fight of the year in 2022, guys. This was an amazing fight. It was a scrap. The faces were just covered. Michael Chandler was doing some dirty stuff, he was playing. Poirier said he put his fingers in his mouth. Pause. But And like these guys, even after this fight, they don't like each other. Like Dustin Poirier doesn't like Michael Chandler, which is so funny. He never like talks bad about Conor McGregor, like because Conor McGregor literally was trashing on his wife. Doesn't say much, but Michael Chandler's just existing, and Dustin Poirier just hates him. He just despises Michael Chandler so much, which is very funny, and I guess I can understand it, but it's just funny. It's very funny watching Dustin Poirier just hang on Michael Chandler so much. But the fight itself was like really good. Like Poirier won the first round. It was like a scrap in the first round. Then the second round, Michael Chandler dominated him. He was using his grappling, which is kind of funny that Michael Chandler has superior grappling over Poirier when, like, you know, Charles Oliveira dominated Michael Chandler on the ground. So it's kind of funny. And then the third round, Dustin Poirier submits Michael Chandler, which is very funny, and it's like a great way to end the fight. Now we have Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. You could say that this was fight of the year in 2022 as well, guys. This was like this is like one of the most popular fights on YouTube. I think it has like 20 million views on the UFC channel, which is kind of crazy but understandable because Khamzat Chimaev, remember, at this time, his star power was rising like insanely, right? And this was his biggest challenge, like, because Khamzat was like, what, ranked 11th in the world, and Gilbert was ranked 2nd in the welterweight division. So this was like Khamzat's biggest test to see how, if he was like championship material, or if he could fight against the top guys, and he really could. And I'm so happy that Khamzat didn't wrestle with him. He did try, but it didn't really work. I think it was a weird night for Khamzat, but it was just a great fight. Like Gilbert actually, like, Khamzat dominated him in the first round, almost finished him, and then Gilbert comes in the second round, almost finishes Khamzat in a better way than Khamzat did in the first round. It was crazy. Like, he almost knocked him out, and it was just a great fight. And then the third round is like a back and forth scrap, and Khamzat just barely does it to win that round, and he wins the fight. And my favorite part about this fight isn't necessarily the fight itself, but it's the fact that a fighter made, like, Gilbert Burns is like one of the few fighters who actually made Khamzat Chimaev look human. Yeah, Usman did it a little bit. He made Khamzat look a little bit human, but he didn't do it in the same extent as like Gilbert Burns did. Like Gilbert Burns almost finished Khamzat Chimaev, which is kind of crazy because like Gilbert Burns isn't nowhere near like a top 10 like striker in the world. He's not even like top 5 best striker in the division he's in. So to almost finish Khamzat Chimaev is kind of crazy. And like nobody has made like Khamzat Chimaev look human like Gilbert Burns did in that fight. And I feel like especially in that fight that I think that's a reminder for Khamzat Chimaev always to keep training or whatever. I don't know, ever since that fight he's looked like a monster since. Finally, we have Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler being in two, like, of the best fights in separate years is kind of crazy, guys, right? This one was better than the Poirier and Michael Chandler fight, in my opinion, because they were just trying to, like, kill each other in this fight. They really were. They were just, like, throwing bombs after bombs after bombs on their head. They probably, like caused 4 years of their life to disappear, you know, guys, because they probably did more because, like, they actually were, like, hitting so hard on each other. And it was, like, it was so crazy. Both in, like Michael Chandler was trying to finish Justin Gaethje so hard in the first round. Again. And then Justin Gaethje comes into the second round, almost finishes Michael Chandler with a nasty uppercut that, like, just, like, makes Michael Chandler just fall to the ground. And then Gaethje tries to finish him. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised Michael Chandler survives that, because, like, if it was anyone else, I don't think anyone else would have survived that situation. Michael Chandler was somehow able to, which is, like, it's really crazy. And we have, you know, like, Michael Chandler is a dirty fighter, don't get me wrong, but, like, you can't deny that Michael Chandler is, like, people trash on him, and I understand why. I understand why people trash on him, and will he ever be a champion? No. Especially after he lost to Charles Oliveira, but you can't deny that he's very exciting to watch. He doesn't really care about the belt anymore, I don't think. He cares more about bringing it for the fans, honestly. But guys, that is me covering the best UFC fights in recent years. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I've got a very big video coming to you guys very shortly. Peace!